Hey everybody, this is Trying to Live. I've been absolutely blown away by all of your views and subscriptions to my channel, for all your comments and all that. I read every single one, as many as I can find. I read every single one, and one of the things that I've been noticing a lot is some people have been having trouble with my moon lander, as described in the ultimate moon lander video, and so I want to give you guys a bit of a, I don't know, a let's play, a walkthrough, a how-to, whatever you want to call it, but we're going to do a one-take shot, hopefully, of an alternate moon lander design. And it's a pretty simple one. I think it's simpler than the other one, but it does have a few downsides, and I think the biggest downside is it's a little trickier to slow yourself down as you approach the moon. But anyways, it starts off very simply with our standard moon lander, which is just going to be this here, and then we're going to apply our landing feet, I guess. We don't really have landing feet. I usually use stock parts just because I want to make things easier for you guys. We'll use the symmetry tool. We set this to 3. The 3 little things here means that when we put it on here, there'll be 3 pieces all evenly placed around. We want to place these as low as possible. There we go. We'll use this winglet right here, and if we get this right, it should stick just below the engine here. So this is our landing craft. We need to do one more thing, which is we need to take this, move this up here, and take this engine down here. And hopefully, if we did this right, yeah, everything should look good. This way, we don't actually shoot our winglets off before we're actually ready to land, because this will be what we actually land with. Next up, we're going to take 1, 2, 3, and 4 of these. We're going to use our vectoring engine. It just makes it easier to control our engine. We're going to switch our symmetry tool up to 6, and we're going to place 6 new stacks here. And we're just going to try to make sure that we get these lower when we put our engines on than the rocket. Otherwise, the whole rocket will sit on one engine and it'll break the rocket. Now these rocket stacks will wobble around, so what we need to do is add some strut connectors, and that just hopefully will keep our rocket from wobbling around. In fact, I'm even going to add another set of struts, just because you never really can add too many. So it should look pretty good. And I think this is it, and it's a very simple ship. One thing you might notice is the outer stack is going to fire, and then the inner stack is going to fire. If you want the little extra stability from this inner stack, you can actually run fuel lines from the top of this middle stack to the outside of these stacks here, but for today we're not going to use them. And let's get this thing launched off. It's a much lighter ship, but it doesn't have such aggressive characteristics as the other design. But anyways, the big benefit to this one is because it is lighter, it won't take off as fast because it doesn't have as many engines running on it. But it does a pretty good job. There's our target right there. We're coming for you. As usual, we're gonna target towards 270 degrees. We can do 90 degrees, and you'll actually save quite a bit on your fuel. And this ship runs a lot closer on fuel. You're more likely to run it out of fuel on this one, on the other one. Like I said, I still really prefer the other one. It gets really wild at a certain point, but once you get past that point, it's nice and tight and easy to fly, and you have plenty of fuel, and that you won't run out. But we're going to be a little risky. We're gonna take it toward 270, and hopefully we will have no problems. I'm going to get everything ready in this view right here, just so I can have this thing up and don't have to worry about bouncing it around. This is the sort of unexciting parts of KSP. I could fast forward it, but I don't like the way the ship handles when it's in double speed. It doesn't handle the same way, and I don't like the way it works. One of the reasons why when your rocket gets a little higher in the other style and tips over, it's especially because it twists, it'll twist a whole lot, it'll rotate a lot is what I mean. And part of the reason why is because you don't have any air for these fins to work on, and so they're just kind of flipping around and trying to stabilize your ship, and it's not doing anything. And so the whole ship is basically being held up by these critters here. If you look here, you can see from the orbital map view, some of the polygons have kind of bled through. You can get rid of that by pressing M and then pressing back M again. It gets rid of that. The characteristics of the ship for the orbital burn are pretty similar. They're not too terribly far out. It just takes a little bit more fuel, but the ship stays pretty light. This one, we're not using the vectoring engines even while we're shooting off this larger set of rockets, and you think it would be fairly unhandleable just because you have all these rockets and you're not using any vectors, but this one stays pretty tight, especially if you use a liberal amount of these struts here. Getting ready to take the turn, we're going to check our apoapsis. One of the things you can always do is to kind of check your apoapsis to see if you've turned too late or turned too soon. We're getting along there pretty good, so we'll start turning the ship over. It's not going to fall over just as fast, just because we don't have vectoring engines to really help us out. We're kind of getting up in the atmosphere, so our fins aren't helping as much. We're still in a little bit of atmosphere, but it's not as thick as at sea level. Some of you guys have noted that sometimes it looks like you go over the top of the moon or under the bottom of the moon, and the reason why that is you really have to keep your ship at 270 or 90 degrees if you go the other way as much as possible, and you can see I'm not doing a very good job of it here, so hopefully we'll be doing pretty good. I'm going to flip over to here. Yeah, I need to power this thing down a lot because our apoapsis is going way high. Alright, so this will give us a second to fix our burn. If I were to do continue my orbital burn right now, I wish I could have turned my ship over a little faster. That's just the lack of the vectoring engines. If I were to continue to do my burn right now, this apoapsis, that's a little higher than I would like it. I'd like it about 100 kilometers. That would continue to rise out, and I would basically be wasting fuel, and I don't really want to do that right now. And so we'll wait until we get a little closer. We're kind of moving a little slow, so we don't want to wait until we're right on top, because if you start burning after your apoapsis and you're not in a actually have an orbit already, you're already behind the 8 ball. You're way behind, and a lot of times it's just easier just to start over. But I don't want to quite do that. But we're getting along here. Let's see here. Yeah, let's start doing our burn now. So we'll continue our burn. Let's see here. I'm not pushing the right buttons tonight. See, I am getting a bit of a twist. I'm going to turn my SAS back on, see if it won't help me. Alright, see, it is a twisting just because I don't have those vectoring engines. We'll get rid of those in a sec. These engines in a second. Use our vectoring engine. We're not quite to orbital speed yet. That's the coolest looking thing there ever. It's like a little flower of engines. Those will fall back to Earth and smash somebody's car. And now that we have our vectoring engine on, we can turn our ship a lot faster. We're not going to catch up to speed and have the strong power of the normal engine, but it just gives us so much more control that we can get our ship pointed in the right direction. And I'm a little bit off of my direction. There we go. I'm going to drop power just a little bit. Like I said, our apoapsis is still growing, and we don't want it to go way out, because we want to use that fuel to grow our apoapsis where the moon's going to be, rather than out here in the middle of nowhere. Because we'll end up doing our burn, I think, somewhere around here. And you can see we're starting to get closer, and so we're going to continue our burn on. You'll watch our apoapsis will kind of raise a little bit, but because we waited until we got a bit closer to it, it won't raise as much. There we go. And hopefully we won't cross the apoapsis before we start, we get enough burn, but getting a little close to that apoapsis than I'd like to be. But hopefully we'll do a pretty good job here. Hopefully it won't look too bad. Continuing our burn, we're about done with one of our 4 tanks. We're after the apoapsis, which is kind of unfortunate. We're still pretty close to it, but I'd rather be before it. You can see right now our apoapsis is actually going down rather than going up, which is terribly unfortunate. Just because you burn all that upwards and now you're burning all that downward. But we're close enough that it's not crashing. If we were over here and trying to burn versus cover, we would have to waste so much fuel, and we'd have to kick this apoapsis out so far just to get a decent orbit. But we're about to get to get an orbit that's useful. Not just crashing into the other side of the planet. We'll be about halfway done. Hopefully we'll have enough fuel. Like I said, this one's way tighter when it comes to our fuel economy. You can't just make mistakes very often. And let's see, our paraapsis that's enough. I pressed X. That's a new control I just learned about the other day, and then somebody reminded me on the comments that you press X and it instantly turns off your fuel. Alright, now we're going to find the moon, and we can see the moon there, and we'll wait to do our next burn when the moon sets. Now remember, if you're going towards 270, you wait until the moon sets. If you go towards 90, you have to wait a little longer because you have to actually wait till the moon rises up again. But the moon's about to set, and there it sets, and so now we can give my engine a little fuel just to help me turn, and we can begin our burn toward the moon. Come on, rocket. Do it right. Kind of going out of control here. Alright. Come on now. There we go. Give it a little more power, a little more control. There we go. I'm trying to get on 270 exactly. It looks like we're doing pretty good. Spin around here, and I really wish they would add fuel lines over here, because I'm all like, oh, do I have enough fuel? Do I not have enough fuel? I like the fact that I can control my ship. You can even use RCS units, I found out, but you can't, there's no altitude without actually hovering over yourself, and there's no, whatever this is, your vertical speed, I guess is what it is. But anyways, just me griping about a game that is so far free. Later on, when I'm actually, on the actual game that you pay $10 for, then I'll be a little more upset. But now I'm just like, whatever. I won't be upset. Just a game. All right, we're running out of fuel. We are running out of fuel. It's gonna be tight, that's for sure. Come on, little rocket. Come on, little rocket. Alright, we're getting closer. Of course, you can control your throttle from this view right here, so I can more aptly. There we go, get a little more. There we go, that should be pretty good. Hey, it looks a little high, but not too bad. And we'll just kind of warp ahead. Try not to warp through the planet or the moon. Sometimes I occasionally warp through things and crash just instantly. Makes all that effort. Let me check here. How much fuel do we have left? We have a tank and maybe a tenth. Hopefully that's enough. You use all that fuel and you just hope you have enough. Alright. Cruise forward here. Whoa, alright. Oh. Look at that. I missed. That's no good. I actually have to slow down now so that the gravity will pull us in. I should have gone a little farther probably. Alright, paraapsis. Ooh, paraapsis is out there. I really hate to use fuel like this. I'd rather just smash right into the planet. Ultimate, or I guess it's not a planet, it's a moon. But ultimately, I suppose it uses more or less the same amount of fuel because I would have to hit the brakes anyway. Just I prefer not to. Alright, come on, Paraps, let's get in there. I don't want to use more fuel than I need to. Remember, it takes about half a tank of your lander craft. Oh, that's it. Just push X, not just hit control. I'm used to just holding control and it takes too long. Anyways, so we've got 3/4, let's call it 4/5 maybe? 3/5? We'll call it 3/5. 3/5 of a tank on our we'll call this, our slowdown stack, our utility stack, I guess. I don't know what you might call it. And then we can use up to half a tank in this upper lander craft before we have to just abort, otherwise we can't return. Like I said, fuel is tight. It is possible, but fuel is tight. So anyways, we'll kind of warp in a bit. And the other thing we have to watch out for is that you have to do your safety burns a little sooner because it takes a little longer to do your safety burns there. Because you don't have those 3 engines firing, you will have some problems if you're not doing your safety burns a little earlier. And I think I need to start doing some safety burns. Alright, 60K. That's probably enough for right now. I wish I had like a math calculator that I could like put the distance and put the speed and calculate out how much time until I smash into the planet. Of course, it's actually also my downward speed versus just my my lateral speed too. And so I'd actually have to look at this and kind of determine on the gauge. Okay, am I? What is that? That's like 500 meters per second downward. That can't be. That's probably more like 400. Logarithmic scales are hard to read. Alright, getting closer. Going to continue to counter burn. Slow myself down, watching my fuel very carefully. I do not want to run out of fuel. I don't know. I mean, I can run out of fuel. I have to be very careful with it. And also have to be very safe about it, just because there's a limited amount of time before I smash into the planet or into the moon, and there's a limited amount of time that I have of fuel, and a limited amount of time that or a limited amount of or a number of number of seconds before I could slow down enough, have enough time to slow down. So if that makes any sense. Like for example, say it takes me to go 10 seconds to go from 500 meters per second to 0. And I'm 9 seconds from smashing into the planet. Well, there's no way I'm going to pull out of that, for example. So I need to do those burns in time, but at the same time, if the gravity of the moon is constant, it's constantly pulling, and if I hover, the longer I hover, the more time that gravity has to pull on me, and so I end up using more fuel. So it's this kind of balance between safety and not running out of fuel. But I'm getting kind of low. See if we can't do this. This is so much more hairy when you don't have those extra rockets, a little extra fuel. About running out of on this stack. I think I'm gonna hold off for right now. I'm falling almost only at 100 meters per second. Most of my speed is lateral. Of course, there's no air to slow me down, and I do have to get rid of that lateral speed as well. So I don't know what the best solution is. I wish I always knew the best solution. I don't usually use this landing craft just because it's a little more difficult. Now, if I had gone toward 90 degrees instead of 270, I'd have, I don't know, maybe another 300 meters per second of delta V to work with, and all this issue would be a kind of a moot point. All right, we're getting really close. I need to burn off some more speed. I'm probably going to end up running out of fuel on this run here, on this burn here. Just about. Our little meter right here switched to surface from orbit, so it's giving us a more accurate for landing. 10,000 meters away. Oh, that's it for that one. Alright, that slowed us down very quickly. But I gotta make sure I keep at least half a tank, because that's about what it takes for us to land safely. We're coming down pretty good now. Looks like we're gonna land in a crater. We are, let's see here, we're about 5,000 meters away, traveling at 200 meters per second. Can't do the math in my head to guess how long it's, or to estimate how long it's going to take before we become a crater ourselves. We're going to go ahead and do a nice safety burn here, just because I don't want to be a crater. Alright, and there we go. Now that's basically to a crawl, but it did afford me the opportunity to lock myself more upright. 3,000 meters and falling. Oh, turn my SAS off. Keep hitting my RCS button instead of my SAS button. T. There we go. Alright. Falling fairly slowly, almost straight up and down. 2,000 meters. I got a little bit of fuel, but I can't go crazy with it. I think this crater is pretty low, so I can kind of burn the earth a little bit as a figure of speech. Alright, kill some speed. Coming in just a few hundred meters. Alright, we're gonna give it a nice slow burn. Looking good, coming down hard, but that's okay because I don't want to waste any more fuel than I want to. Normally I end up landing with tons of extra fuel. With the other design, this one, like I said, just takes extra. That's just the way it is. Coming down, slowing down good, getting rid of our extra last little bit of speed. There we go, looks good. Alright, coming down a little too slow. Still too slow, there we go. We'll come down a little faster. Yeah, we're almost at sea level, I guess, if the moon had a sea. Alright, and that's it. We made it. We still have enough fuel. Yeah, we can make it back. I'm going to pause the video for a second, let my computer catch up with the video recording and whatnot, and I'll be right back. Just a tiny speck on a tiny moon near a tiny planet near a tiny sun in a great big universe. Oh, look, I found us. Very good. Alright, I poured myself a little bit of Pepsi, let my computer catch up, and it's time to take off home. Now we still have enough fuel, hopefully, to get back, and so let's go. We're just going to throttle up, turn our rocket to whichever way we want. Get rid of these things, we don't need those anymore. Those will just be little souvenirs for the next person who comes by. And we'll just blast off until we hit about 800 meters per second. Alright. At about 800 meters per second, you hit escape velocity. There it is. Oh, there we go. Turned green. Oh, look at that. Just about 800 meters per second. And the big thing is we just want to stay away from the moon when we kind of do our return retro burn. The reason why is because we'll slow down and the moon will recapture us, and I'll just have a bad day and sort of a scumbag moon thing all over again. But anyways, we're just gonna leave our tranquility of the moon. Why anyone wants to go there? It's just a big gray thing, you know. Planet Kerbin looks much better. Oh no, it's green and blue and nice and gray. Anyways, we continue on, get out of here. Whoa, alright. Now we're coming up on the paraapsis. Now the easiest way to do this is actually to do this at apoapsis. And you know what, let's go ahead and do that. The reason why you might want to do it at apoapsis is it takes a little more, Kerbal time. We're at a day now. But the reason why you'd want to do it at apoapsis is just because it takes the least amount of fuel. So if you're running low on fuel, we probably could have done this at paraapsis, no problem. But if you're running low on fuel, this is the way to do it. But we should have plenty of fuel. And there we are. See, it took absolutely no effort. And we still have plenty of fuel. But there we go. We'll just enjoy a nice crash back to the green homeland. As we get closer, I'm going to slow it down because I have smashed into the planet before at high speeds and I didn't care for that much. Alright, coming in fast. We don't need this anymore. I'm going to actually kind of point it away so that we don't smash into it. I've done that many times. And when we hit atmosphere, a little thicker atmosphere, our parachute will shoot out and we will come back home and enjoy things. So there you guys go. That is a rocket design that will get you to the moon. Showed you how to do it. It's quite a bit trickier once you get past that wobbly stage with the other rocket. The worst part is with that wobble. Once you get past that wobble, you're good to go. But this one, if you just absolutely cannot do it, this one will get you there. It's significantly harder. Your fuel margins are significantly thinner. I think I had maybe 1/10 of a tank left. All right, and I was trying to be very ginger with it. So about 1/10 of a tank you'll have left. If you're really good, I think I've gotten up to maybe half a tank of that last one left. But it's a little bit harder. I don't prefer to do it like if someone say, I bet you can't make it to the moon, I would go with the other one. But this one's fun too. So anyways, I hope this was helpful for you guys. Thanks for subscribing if you have. If you haven't, just click the button. It's cool. It's fun. I make lots of videos. But hey, thanks guys. Have a nice night.